I'm Narelle Todd.
And I'm Essie Susan Smith.
We are the self-publishing author and marketing duo that has sold over 2 million books. But we didn't start out knowing how to sell books. Fast forward past many failed promotions and a lot of lessons learned, you will see how we went from self-publishing newbies to hitting the New York Times bestsellers list and making the USA Today bestsellers list 19 times and counting. We created the Get My Book Out There podcast to give you simple yet effective marketing strategies to increase readership and book sales so you know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, as well as some tips for staying mentally and physically well.
Let's get started.
And we want to talk to you today about planning your book marketing. Now, I know probably most people think that they have a plan, or maybe you're just realistic and realize that you don't have one, and you're quite happy to admit to that. So we just wanted to share 3 easy tips so that you can get a plan in place, because that is what helps you sell books. And everybody wants to sell some books, right?
I do. I'll volunteer for that.
Good answer. That's the one I wanted. Okay, so the first one of our tips is about using some kind of way to capture your thoughts about your book marketing. So it could be a mind map, it could be a spreadsheet, it doesn't really matter, but get it out of your head and down onto paper. We actually love mind maps. So with all the marketing planning that we do with Susan, I actually go through and do it on a mind map, and then we convert it into a spreadsheet after that. And we have some nifty automation that does that for us. So we're not, it's not like double handling all the way through. But I think one of the advantages of mind maps, and you think in a mind map, Susan, that's how, your brain is very much a mind map sort of brain.
Visual.
That'd be right.
And that's why, having that visual business plan works so well for me, because it's another form of mapping, and it's a very visual one. And being the creative type of person that I am just fits with how my brain works. So it doesn't seem quite so stressful.
Yes. Yeah.
Or overwhelming. I think that's an even better example.
Yeah. And of course, the beauty with mind mapping is the thing that underpins it is that you're not restricting your brain into going, well, I have to do this and then this and then this next. Literally what you're doing is you're just putting all your thoughts down onto paper, and then afterwards you can move them around. And there's lots of really great software out there that'll help you, work through the mind mapping process. I use a program called, I have to make sure I say it right, Aoya. It's aoya.com. So it's based on the Tony Buzan mind mapping. He kind of was one of the pioneers for it. But it doesn't matter. Look, you can just mind map on a bit of paper. And honestly, there've been times.
The big board that you have behind you would be like perfect.
Yes.
Draw it out.
Yeah.
And that as a former teacher, that's what we used to do, is use mind maps to help kids understand concepts and to do things. So if you're not sure of what one is, you can always ask your child if you have one that's in like elementary or middle or even high school, and you talk mind maps, they'll probably know immediately what you're talking about and then look at you like you're nuts.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yes, so whenever I've had enough of tech, and I'll mind map over, say on that on the paper, or just on even on the whiteboard. But I use things like these kind of stickers and stuff.
Yes.
They're just sticky notes, and then literally I just put all the ideas up on these things. It doesn't matter. I just use different shape just because I can. There's no rhyme or reason behind it, and I literally just put all the thoughts up. So whether you do it in software, whether you do it on a whiteboard, on butcher's paper, whatever, just get all your thoughts down as to what you're going to do just for the next 3 months. It doesn't have to be any more than that. And literally that's all our brains can cope with, is just planning 3 months ahead in this kind of detail. So get your thoughts down, move it around until it all makes sense. And then you've got, your business plan or your marketing plan for the next 3 months. So you've done it.
I have a question that
Yes.
Some may want to know. Should you kind of limit it? Because if you just throw everything out there, then it's kind of like throwing everything at the wall, and then you could be very overwhelmed with it. Should you just like pick a certain amount to focus on for that 3 months? Like, you know, one task or 5 tasks, or how many?
I would say get everything down. So whatever pops into your head, and this is the beauty of the creativity process, put whatever comes into your mind, because that's actually what's going on subconsciously within your brain anyway. Put it all, get it all written down onto the board, and then step back once you've got everything up. Part of the process in doing the mind map is that you are not correcting yourself, or you're not double thinking anything, or going, oh, I can't do that, or I haven't got the resources, or I can't afford that, or all of those things you just need to put away. Just get it all down onto paper, because honestly, all that stuff is going on in your brain, and it actually is preventing your creativity, whether it's with your writing, actually staying on schedule, all of those things. So get it out of your head, then step back and have a look at it and go, okay, what can I realistically do in 3 months? And then you start to pare it back. But don't pare back while you're thinking, while you're in the mind mapping process.
Okay.
Don't do it then. You want to get it all out, because it gives you a certain power then when you get it all out. It frees your brain. You've captured everything. Then you can start to bring in your logical, rational brain and go, well, no, actually, I can't do those 20 huge marketing things. I can do, say, 3. And, I like odd numbers. So I recommend to people that they do 3 marketing activities in 3 months, for over 3 months.
Well, I know that's one of the things, because I'm always coming up with new ideas. And I know that that's not unique for writers. And so when you're trying to get it all down, sometimes you're like putting it out there, kind of like you said, it frees up the mind. So it's one last thing I have to try to constantly remember. And for me, it actually frees up space, like memory in a computer, so I can add more stuff there. That's like, okay, let's clean out the house. And oh, I've got an empty space. I need to go shopping and put something there.
Yeah, you've done a brain declutter in effect. And I find the beauty of, say, putting your ideas onto sticky notes and stuff is the ones you don't use, you can just peel off, say it was on paper.
To use later, maybe.
Yeah. And then, if something is obviously not working in your plan and you want to swap something out, you can just go, but you've got your list already. You don't have to go through the process again. So you're saving yourself time. You've also captured it. So your brain knows you've captured what your thought was. It's not going to get lost. You may put it somewhere safe and forget where you put it. That can happen.
I do that.
But you know that you've got it. And that's part of the power of that exercise.
That's brilliant.
So create a mind map, or as I say, the same concept is just write down all your ideas, even if it's into a spreadsheet, if that works better for you. But just capture it, then work through. I recommend up to 3 marketing activities in a 3-month period, because what you want to do, and moving on to our second point, is you want to do those 3 marketing activities that you've chosen for the 3 months. You've got to give them time to work. So don't just try it once and then go, it didn't work, I didn't sell. You've got to let the momentum build. You have to let the process take effect.
And really. I think that that's very difficult for some people. They're like, if it doesn't work within the first day or the first week, they tend to get, feel self-doubts building up and wondering if this is going to work, and and that constant drive to need to change or tweak or something. And I agree with you. If you don't give it time to work, and it takes time to, again, I'm thinking more like a computer in some ways, it needs that time to replicate. So when you put something in a computer, like it needs that time to replicate to this computer and then to go to that one and slowly spread out. And then of course, the more it spreads, or I guess you could say even like a virus, the more, it starts out low, but then as it spreads, it builds up, and more and more and more and more people will actually see what you're doing. And if you don't give it that time, you're basically killing possibly a great idea, just because you were too impatient to sit on your hands and say, no, I'm not going to take that out.
And that, I think, is the scary part, because what you're actually doing is having to close your mind to any new things that you see happening. So if you're in writers groups, marketing groups, there'll be people who come on and say, I just, made lots of money and I did it by doing this. And you'll go, oh, maybe I should be doing that. And so you trundle over there, or yeah, and you trundle here, and that's all part of that process of, we're chasing the shiny object, or, I call it throwing mud at the wall and hoping that something sticks. You have to give things a chance to work.
Yes.
So you go with, and this is where mind mapping is really great, because it actually gets out what's innate and native to you, and it gets it out onto paper. It's the stuff that your brain is saying to you anyway, go do this. So the stuff that actually comes out of your mind during a mind mapping exercise is actually things that you feel comfortable doing, which means you're more likely to go and do them. So I would invite you just to trust the process, trust yourself, and stick with the plan. So if that means not looking at some marketing groups for a while so that you don't get distracted or you don't start to doubt yourself, then do that. This is about you and your success, and you have to have leadership in yourself, and that involves not listening to what other people are saying, not going off and chasing something because somebody said it worked for them.
Yes.
There are so many marketing tactics out there to sell books that you would be so distracted trying to, work the next best thing when your answers are actually here in your mind map. Your answers, you've already got your answers as to what will work for you. So trust yourself, honestly. And if you have to put that on a sticky note and put it right in front of you, trust the process, trust myself, write those down if you need to. And then just, remind yourself every day that you know what you're doing.
It's funny that you say that, because I was talking to a new author today, and she had gotten some feedback, and it was positive feedback, but it was feedback, and it came from two different sources, and they had opposing views of the same thing. So I told her, I said, you need to trust in your gut. What does your gut tell you? And she says, well, I wish it would talk a little bit louder. And I told her, I said, go with your first impression. When you ask yourself a question, what is the first immediate response? And it's like when you go to answer a test question, they always tell you, if don't change your first answer,
Yeah.
The first one, unless you absolutely know you did it wrong, don't change it, because more than likely it's the right answer. And so, we talked back and forth about that, and it's building that trust in yourself. When you're flying an airplane, you've got to, if you get in your instrument control, you need to be able to trust those instruments. And this is all part of the same thing. It's trusting your instincts. You've got, like you said, you put it all down on your mind map, on those stickies. What you're comfortable with is what's going to work for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. And, too many people are trying to chase that shiny little object, hoping that it will work for them. But I think what you said empowers them. They've got the answer to what works for them right there in their hands.
Yeah. We basically gather our information to make our decisions in two different ways. So some people are more intuitive, which is they trust their gut. Other people need the data and they need to back that up. So what's been happening, while you've been going into different groups and looking at different things, is you've either been, collecting information either from a data point of view and, reading the different posts where they share a lot of the data, and you'll be into those. You would be recognizing, yes, that data supports that conclusion. Yes, that's worked. Okay, that's a good idea. Or you may intuitively have just gone, nah, I don't like that. I don't care what data they put there. I'm not really into data. But intuitively it doesn't sit right, or it does sit right.
Yes.
So this is now about you just trusting that you've collected the data you've needed in whatever form that works best for you, whether it's just an intuitive gut reaction or whether you've actually got the data to show you that it's right. And now it's just up to you now to trust it. And that's where I say you've got to trust the process and trust yourself that you have collected the info that you need. It's sitting right with you in whatever format that looks like. And now you just need to go and work it, and you've got to go do that for 3 months, which leads us into point number 3, which is you need to show up consistently. So you've got your map, you've got all your things, it's the right thing to do. You're trusting the process, you're trusting yourself. And now you're going to show up consistently for the next 3 months doing the things you need to do. And that's the magic sauce, is actually the consistency. And I've got to tell you personally, the consistency is the hardest.
I have to tell the minute you said 3 months, the first image, and of course I'm a very visual person, was me literally melting in my chair and sliding like the egg and what is it, dolls, um, with all
Yes.
the melting clocks and everything else. It was literally me sliding underneath my desk going, 3 months, no.
I know. Sounds horrible.
The first two are like, yeah, yeah. And then you get to the third one, it's like, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And look, I struggle here too. So I totally get it. And I think this is why we do go off and chase different things, because it's so easy to like get bored, or so easy, I don't really want to do that. But honestly, the consistency in showing up is actually where the secret sauce is. I don't think there is a secret sauce with regards to book sales when it comes to tactics. Different tactics are going to work for different people at different times. Different things are going to work. The thing that is consistent across all of that is that it's people who are showing up consistently, working their plan, doing the things. I call it the maintenance type stuff. So it's not sexy, it's not groovy, and it's not new. When you're in the third month of your marketing and it's the third month that you're doing the same thing over and over and over, it's usually when we're like going, oh, this is boring, and we want to go off and bring something new in. And that's where I say, bring you back to, this is about leadership of yourself and recognizing that this is the thing which is actually going to help with your book sales.
I think what really drove that point home for me was talking to some of the other authors that have listened to you, that have been in the signature program that you do. They were like, struggling the first month, trying to learn all the processes and doing everything. And then the second month was pretty much taking everything they learned and implementing it and being very consistent and doing it. And then the third month came and they're like plowing along and they're like, oh my God, is any of this working? And they're doing it. And then they look at their sales and they notice that it's gone. And that's when you see the light bulb coming on, is when, one author after another who's been in that signature program, and they're like, oh my God, my sales have increased by 68%. Yes. Or I've never sold this many books in a month. And that realization of everything that you were showing them and constantly pushing them to say, stay focused and do. And then bam, it worked. It's like, oh my gosh.
I know. And that's part of the amazing part. I was just thinking some of the stuff that I was sharing with them about just the simple tweaks they can do regularly, like say every 2 weeks or every month with their Facebook, and how to get just back into the algorithm and get in front of people just with some tweaks to Facebook, how they could improve that, what they needed to do to get that going. But it was they had to do those things at least every 2 weeks or every month. And they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. And then watching the ones who actually went and did it, and then they'd report back and they'd go, you would not believe what just happened. And I'll go, well, actually, I would believe it. But and the others are going, really, it works? So you go, yes. It's all about the right tactics, yes, but it's really about making sure that you just keep working your plan. So whatever your plan is, what we invite you to do, get it out of your head, write it down, work it for 3 months, and then show up consistently and keep working that plan for your 3 months. Give it a chance to work, because it can work and will work when you are doing the work for the 3-month period. And then you reassess, rinse and repeat, and you start again for the next 3 months.
And if something is, you're still working on it, then you can always just change out one thing and add, one thing new to what you're doing. It's funny because I was reading an article today about the oldest man who's doing the Appalachian Trail. Anybody who knows that I'm hopefully going to be on it next year, and I'm getting excited about it. But he's 83 years old, and he's basically saying the same thing that everyone else has said, is that it's 85% mental and 15% physical. And I can't help but take that and relate to what you just talked about, is because it's really all the stuff that you're doing is about 15% physical, and that, setting up the mind map and, finding out what's working for you and then putting it in, implementing it, and then sticking with it. But it's the sticking with it, which is the 85%. That last part, the first two parts are about 15%, but it's that 85% of of the mental challenge of your mindset, staying focused, that makes such a huge difference to whether or not you're going to be successful in your marketing.
Yeah. And we'll put some links in the show notes to other podcasts we've done around mindset, because we do spend a lot of time on mindset, because I think it's the thing that actually helps. It's the secret sauce is our mindset. It's not marketing tactics. Marketing tactics are just marketing tactics. It's the mindset that we bring to what we do that helps us be successful and helps us sell more books. So yes, I know, for me, say talking about the Appalachian Trail, I would know right from the beginning that I'd last maybe one night, because there's no way I'm pitching a tent every day, packing it up the next day and moving on. So I know from a mindset point of view that I'm not going to be doing that. And it's the same with our book marketing. There are things that you're not going to do. So why even, just because that idea may have worked for somebody else, but in yourself that there's no way you're going to do that. So don't set yourself up for failure just by chasing somebody else's marketing tactic that was successful. Do the things that are innate for you. I know I will be successful on the Appalachian Trail if there was a motel room each night or a cabin that I could go sleep in. I would be super successful. I know that, but not the tent thing. So it's the same with marketing. Stuff that you would do. Do that. Don't go doing the tent thing if you're not a tent person. If you're a cabin person or a motel person, there's things you need to go do in your book marketing. Yeah. So just be clever too in what you put down. Put things that that you can do that are going to work with you. Get your success, some success runs on the board, and then start to look at some things that may challenge you. I'm not saying never do anything that challenge you, because you do have to step outside your comfort zone from time to time.
I know I have done that more than once.
Yes, yeah, you're very good at it. I'll say some things to you and you're just like go, yeah, I just feel everything just like pucker up. We all have to do some of those things. But what I'm saying is get some success runs on the board to show that you are successful, that you can do a 3-month plan. And then, every now and then just introduce in one thing that might be scary, that might be a challenge, that might require you to actually force yourself to do something.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, that's doing lives. And yet live video, my gosh, it does wonders, for book sales. But for many people, it's that same reaction of me in a tent, on a trail. It's like, there's no way. So, but at some point you may need to actually say, well, I need to suck it up and just go do some lives. The same as if I want to do the Appalachian Trail, I would say, well, I would do a part of it. I don't think I would want to do 8 months of that, but maybe I'd do a week or something just so I can have a look, because I'd love to see it. I think it would look fantastic. The experience would be fabulous. And that's the same as some of your marketing tactics. But anyway, that's a whole other podcast, I think, that we can go down for that one. Anyway, so go get your marketing plan in place every 3 months, get a new one there, and then just work it. That's basically what it comes down to.
Put all your ideas down and don't throw any of them away. Stack them up, put them aside, because if you don't use them today, you may use them tomorrow or next year.
That's right. Okay, well, we hope this one's been helpful.
See y'all. Bye.
Bye. Hey, thanks for joining us today. We've got way more information we want to share with you to increase your book sales. So please come and join me at facebook.com. Get my book out there.